This is Grace. She's been walking the same path in Kenya for 47 years. Not because she doesn't know where she's going, but because she knows exactly where she's going. And why? Elephants live a long time. Some live longer than humans. But living longer means experiencing more loss. Grace has lived longer than most. And she carries something with her that most humans never experience: complete, perfect memory of every loss she's ever had. What do you remember when you have a perfect memory? Not just facts, but everything. The smell of your mother. The sound of your daughter's call. The exact moment you knew she was gone. Grace is walking toward the place where her daughter died. A place she hasn't visited in 4 years. Because she remembers. And she needs to remember. Clio was born during a dry season. Her mother, another elephant, died from dehydration a year after birth. So Grace adopted her. Grace became her mother. And for 23 years, they were inseparable. Clio wasn't just Grace's child. She was her responsibility. Her legacy. The one she taught how to survive, how to find water in drought, how to grieve properly when others died. 23 years into Clio's life, there was a drought. The worst in a decade. Waterholes dried up. Food became scarce. And then one morning, when Grace woke up, Clio wasn't moving. Clio died of dehydration. Malnutrition. The same thing that had killed Clio's biological mother, all those years before. And Grace watched it happen. Could see it coming. Could do nothing. After Clio died, Grace stopped eating for 2 weeks. She stood in the same spot for hours, not moving, not responding. The herd tried to comfort her. She ignored them. She was mourning. And not in a way we usually talk about when we talk about animals. Other elephants in her group came to the place where Clio died. They stood there. They were saying goodbye, honoring her. This is something elephants do. A ritual. A way of processing loss together. But Grace couldn't move on in the way grief is supposed to work. Because Grace has a perfect memory. She doesn't get to forget. She doesn't get to have her loss fade with time. Every moment of Clio's life is still perfectly preserved in her mind. And so is the moment Clio died. For years after Clio's death, Grace decided to walk back to that place. Not because she forgot, but because, maybe, she needed to remember correctly. Not just the ending. The whole story. Scientists who study elephants have documented this. Grace visits this place approximately every 4 to 6 months. Each time, she stands in the exact same spot. She doesn't move. She doesn't eat while she's there. And then, after several hours, she returns to the herd. When Grace arrives, she doesn't hesitate. She walks directly to the spot. To the remains. Even though 4 years have passed. Even though the bones are old and scattered. She knows exactly where to go. Her trunk moves slowly. She's not just touching the bones. She's remembering. Every touch is a connection to every memory of Clio. Her birth. Her life. Her death. All happening at once in Grace's mind. When humans grieve, we try to let go. We try to process, to move forward, to accept loss and continue living. And that's healthy. That's how we survive. But Grace doesn't move forward. She moves in circles. She returns. Over and over. Not because she's stuck. But because, with a perfect memory, letting go means choosing not to think about something. And Grace has chosen differently. She's chosen to honor the memory instead of forget it. To visit it. To acknowledge it. To refuse the mercy of forgetting that time offers the rest of us. Grace isn't alone in this. The herd meets her. They walk with her back home. They acknowledge where she's been. They stand with her in that knowledge. Grace has other calves. She's had calves since Clio died. She loves them. She raises them. She teaches them to find water, to survive, to navigate this hard world. But Clio remains. Perfect in memory. Not lost. Different. There's a concept in neuroscience called the default mode network. It's what your brain does when it's not focused on a task. When you're not thinking about anything specific, your default mode is to think about your past, your relationships, your identity. We assume animals don't have this. We assume they live in a perpetual present. That they don't ruminate, don't reflect, don't visit their past the way we do. But elephants disprove this. Grace disproves this. Grace remembers. Completely. And instead of this being a curse she tries to escape, she's integrated it into how she lives. She visits the memory. She honors it. She continues forward while also carrying it with her. Humans are not the only creatures that grieve. We're not even the only creatures that visit our grief, that carry loss forward, that refuse to forget. But we often act like we are. We talk about animals as if they're simpler, less aware, less capable of suffering. But Grace shows us something. She shows us that consciousness, real, actual consciousness, is more common than we think. That the ability to suffer, to grieve, to remember perfectly, to choose how you carry loss, these aren't unique to humans. They're just different expressions of the same thing. And maybe the most human thing about Grace isn't that she grieves. It's that she continues. That even with a perfect memory, even knowing exactly what was lost, she gets up every day and lives. With her herd. With her other children. With the knowledge that loss is part of living, and she chooses to live anyway. There are fewer than 400,000 African elephants left in the wild. 100 years ago there were millions. Poaching, habitat loss, drought, the same droughts that killed Clio, are getting worse. And we're watching populations that took decades to build get destroyed in years. Grace may see the end of her species in her lifetime. With her perfect memory, she'll remember a world with more elephants in it. She'll remember when the herds were larger. And she'll watch them shrink. That's not a reason to feel guilty. That's not a reason to become paralyzed with sadness. But it is a reason to remember. To acknowledge. To refuse the ease of forgetting that we're offered if we choose not to pay attention. Grace will return to that watering hole again. In a few months, or a year, or in 4 years, the pattern will continue. She'll walk the path. She'll remember. She'll honor what was lost. And she'll return to her herd and continue living. That's Grace. Not forgetting. Not letting go. But carrying it. Acknowledging it. And choosing to live anyway. Maybe that's what we all have to learn.